Welcome back to the Figures and Flippy Shit Wrestling Podcast. We're back after a 1 week hiatus. Last week, an unexpected activity came up that we wanted to do on Saturday, so we went and did it. So now we're back this week. This is a big week. We have NXT No Mercy on Saturday, and we have AEW Wrestle Dream on Sunday. AEW, please get your pay-per-view streaming soon because you're killing my bank account, bro.
Well, and first off, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Susan, this is Chris, and we are here to talk about our personal picks for the top moments of the week and in the moments we just didn't really like that much.
Yep. So, as always, we'll start the video with the negative so we can end on a positive note. I have 4 dislikes this week. You have how many?
2.
Okay.
I never have more than... I hardly ever have more than 2.
Well, why don't you go over your 2 first?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's switch it up.
All right. So, my number 2 dislike for the week was how Aubrey, the referee, she was reffing on Dynamite in this particular case, how her reffing is kind of getting on my nerves lately. It's like she lets things go when they shouldn't. For example, this one was during Phoenix and Jeff Jarrett's match for the International Championship, and Aubrey just let Jeff Jarrett's crew do so much, and right in front of her face half the time. They weren't even trying to hide it. And it's what's the purpose of having a ref if they're not even going to do anything?
Yeah.
So that just annoyed me a little bit. I loved her at first. But now it's just, she's kind of becoming I don't really like, who's the guy I don't really like?
Rick Knox. Because
I feel like he lets too much fly, and she's kind of doing the same thing. So that was a dislike for me this week.
That's understandable. I would agree with that. The ref, to me, the ref should not be the show, but they're certainly a part of it.
Yes.
And they need to be consistent.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yes.
I think a lot of AEW's refs are too lax, in the Rampage match with Ruby Soho and Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida just picked up Ruby Soho and just took off up the ramp, and it's and they're well, it's at the ref's discretion, but no. Eventually, AEW flirted with the idea once where Paul Turner let something go that he shouldn't have, and they drew attention to it, and then we just kind of abandoned that.
Yeah.
So, I get it. I think the refs need to be as consistent as we expect the wrestlers to be. Yes. I would agree with that.
So, that just kind of... it was a dislike for me a little bit.
No, I think that's perfectly justifiable. And I don't think you're alone on that at all based on comments that I see.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to AEW.
Yeah. Because you don't really see it as much in WWE, I feel like. Or at least that I've picked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, my number 1 dislike of the week, though, was that Otis lost his match to Bronson Reed. I know... WWE must be high on Bronson Reed. However, you were building up Alpha Academy, so why would you have Otis lose to somebody who the crowd doesn't even really back? So I just felt like Otis should have been the one to win, and it's not even I'm upset about it. It just didn't make sense to me that Otis would lose whenever Alpha Academy... Chad Gable specifically has been kind of getting a push. So, but those were my only 2 dislikes. Okay.
Well, I will go through my 4 dislikes. My number 4 dislike is more of a personal preference than an issue with story. We're teasing Gunther reaching his wit's end with his Imperium guys.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just not ready for Imperium to break up.
I'm not either.
I don't want Imperium to break up until Gunther is world champion. I want them to stick together through his Intercontinental title reign. And I know that could be a while, but Christ, the Bloodline's been together for 4 years.
Yeah, and their stories aren't making any sense really anymore.
Yeah, and I'll address that here in a minute. I've really been going after the Bloodline since SummerSlam, but I don't think I'm alone in that either. But yeah, I'm not ready for Imperium to break up. I think it's too early. I understand that he's showing frustration, but I'm hoping that group can persevere and move through it. Because, like I said, I don't think that we should even be looking at a breakup until Gunther's been world champion.
I agree. I could see that, yeah.
But then again, that draws a lot of parallels to the bloodline, but Roman's never going to lose the title, so it doesn't really matter in that aspect of it.
Roman's going to be like 83 and still have that damn title and only defended it once in 50 years.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. The fact that Roman's only defended his title once since WrestleMania and they want to tout this Days Reign thing is one of the stupidest fucking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
probably should put that as a dislike too. I could put that as a dislike every single week though.
Well, see, I would love to put Roman on the dislikes, but it's like he doesn't exist. Like, Paul Heyman touts him. He's like the herald of Galactus, but Galactus never shows up to work.
I don't even know what that is.
That's a Marvel reference. Galactus has a herald that will announce that he's coming, and Galactus will eat planets.
Oh.
So, like, Paul Heyman is like Roman's herald, but Roman just never shows up to eat the planet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they haven't even advertised him. Like, normally they're like, in 2 weeks, Roman will be back. He's not even advertised. Like, This is ridiculous. Like, we need to stop measuring days and start measuring defenses.
Yeah.
Like, that is the more impressive number. Orange Cassidy had 23 defenses as international champion, and I have infinitely more respect for him than Roman's 7 million day reign. Because in the 1,000-some days that Roman has been champion, he's only defended the title 5 more times than Orange Cassidy.
But isn't Roman hurt right now?
Well, even if he is, if anybody else was hurt, they would have the title taken off of them when we go another direction. And I understand that you've built and built and built and built to this, but you are literally holding your world title scene on SmackDown hostage. Your only title scene that you have going on right now is Rey Mysterio, which, granted, I like the story with him and Santos. I like where it's going. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And you have the women's title picture, but whereas Roman never comes around to defend, Charlotte never goes away from the title picture, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Number 3 for me, I think I really got sidetracked there.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me goes in line with what yours was. I don't understand why Bronson Reed is so easily dispatching the Alpha Academy. We did so much work to build up Gable as this threat to Gunther, and then last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, it might have been last week, Gunther just beat Gable like it was nothing. And I hated that. I don't have anything against Bronson Reed, but you built Gable up to be this big thing, and then you're just going to piss it away because all of a sudden you have a hard-on for Bronson Reed, who, mind you, you fired at the beginning of the pandemic. And to me, nothing has really changed with his presentation.
No.
He's the same as he was when he was let go.
Yeah.
And that's not, like I said, that is not a knock on Bronson Reed. I just don't like that it's coming at the expense of Chad Gable. Fair enough?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
My number 2, now it's time to rip into the bloodline. My number 2 is, I still have no idea what Jimmy's motivation is. We have no clue. Like, I know last week and this week he's starting to kind of act like Roman, and maybe that'll be a catalyst for Roman to get his ass back to work. Maybe.
Which, I mean, I liked that, honestly, that he's starting to act like Roman.
I did too, but
it was funny to see everybody else's reactions behind him.
But I would love to know more, and maybe it's just not time to reveal that. Maybe I'm being impatient.
I mean,
but
it's not like the storyline with the bloodline hasn't been going on for what, like 3 years?
Yeah, I feel like I've been patient enough up to this point.
Yeah,
and
you're
now
expecting so much.
And now I just want to know, where are you going with this?
Yeah,
where are we going? Because right now it really feels like you're just killing time till WrestleMania, till either The Rock's available, if that's what you want to do. Which, let that story go another year, because at this point Roman's not losing anywhere but Mania. And he's probably not going to lose to anybody but Cody Rhodes. So if you're going to get there, just get there. I was going to
say, and that's fine. Just do it already.
I think it's more interesting, honestly, if Roman wrestles Rock without the title, because he goes apeshit and Rock has to come in and be like, hey, grow up, these things happen. Like, I wasn't champ forever. I just don't think the title is needed for Roman's story anymore. I think the family drama was built enough that the family drama itself can carry that story.
Yeah.
And it's holding the world title hostage, and it's pissing me off.
Yes.
Speaking of titles being held hostage, my number 1 dislike this week is Charlotte and Bayley had a match on SmackDown. And Charlotte, before the match, was like, Bayley, I'm going to beat you. And then I'm going to challenge Io at Fastlane. Well, there goes all motivation for me to watch Charlotte and Bayley because I know how that story goes. Every time Charlotte is in, like, is Charlotte allergic to non-title feuds? Like, Becky Lynch has been saying it for weeks. Like, the women need more. They need more substantial stories that don't revolve around the title. And Charlotte can be in one of those stories. It seems like Charlotte comes in, challenges for a title, wins a title, loses the title, then leaves. It's the same pattern, and I know they're doing it to just jack up her numbers, but this is also pissing me off. You have a lot of women on that roster, and you have a lot on the way from NXT that need opportunities that Charlotte, quite frankly, does not need. Becky was working on title feuds. I mean, granted, she's NXT champion now, and I did have a little bit of an issue with that a couple weeks ago, so I am at least consistent. But she was doing non-title feuds before that. She had a feud with Trish that, went on a little long, but admittedly ended in a hell of a final match.
Yeah.
Give Charlotte a non-title feud. Let her put some of her spotlight on somebody. We don't always have to be jacking up Charlotte's numbers. We could use Charlotte to make somebody else look good. We can do these things. She did it with Rhea at WrestleMania. Granted, the title was involved, but we don't need the title for Charlotte. She can do other things, and then when she wins her titles, it feels more special.
Yes.
So that is my number one dislike. Charlotte, wrestle for something other than the title. Put somebody... wrestle to just make somebody look good, not to pad your stats.
And this was you being much more calm than you were last week, and probably the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Because the past couple weeks... You started, yelling during your dislikes.
Yeah. No, I'm calm this week. I'm good.
Good.
Wrestling, for the most part, this week was most excellent, so I don't have too much to be angry about.
Yes.
Like I said, the only thing I'm really angry about in my dislikes is Charlotte. Everything else is just kind of, why? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to get to our likes then?
Yes,
We'll switch the negatives into positives.
As Woods and Kofi would say, and Big E, let's go to the power of positivity. Alright, so my number 10 this week was Zack Sabre Jr.'s promo on Bryan Danielson on Rampage. We don't watch a lot of New Japan, so we don't have a lot of exposure to Zack Sabre Jr.
Yes.
But the exposure that I've gotten through AEW, I really like. And this was just a fun little promo that he cut on Danielson.
It was.
Talking about, how, it should be... He feels like it's funny that it should be an honor to wrestle Bryan Danielson in his year-long retirement tour, and that, just typical stuff, but just the way that he was delivering it was just, it made me really excited for their match.
Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr. seems like a cocky little shit, and I'm here for it.
We do like our cocky little...
I even love at one point, he was talking about, he worked in the Final Countdown as, his final year, and he was like, da-da-da. He started singing the song and everything.
Yes.
But yeah, I just really enjoyed that promo. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
And I am excited for their match at Wrestle Dream. Like I said, AEW is draining my wallet, but goddamn it if they don't make it worth it usually.
They usually do. The AEW typically has good pay-per-views.
Yeah, the pay-per-views usually deliver.
Yes.
Which, we were dead set on not getting All Out, and then we heard how much of a banger it was, and it was like, God damn it, AEW, you've done it again.
In my opinion, All Out was better than All In.
You're not the only one that's thought that.
My number 10 was, my biggest, not my biggest, but a beef that I had with AEW for a while was the Dark Order was getting, nothing. But here lately, Dark Order's been having, video packages and stuff, and they had this really weird video package on Collision from September 23rd, where they were just doing the thing where they're trying to recruit Dark Order members, but it was just weird, and it was goofy, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm just happy to see Dark Order doing things, because I think they deserve it. They were in limbo forever after...
Brody?
Yeah, all I could think of was Huber, but yes, after Brody passed away, so it's nice to see them getting something again. Because whenever they put on matches, it typically gets a "This is awesome" chant. They're good wrestlers, so I'm happy that they're finally getting some recognition for that. But that was my number 10.
Okay.
Who was your number 9?
I agree. My number 9 this week was the SmackDown match between Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. This match cooked. These were I enjoy the luchador style anyway. That's why I love the Lucha Brothers. I love Andrade.
Yes.
I love the luchador style. And this match was just a showcase of great lucha style. And the fact that Rey can still go the way he can at his age. I know he uses stem cells. I know that's part of it. But still, the fact that he can still go like that
I don't think that matters what
short,
treatments you're getting.
Yeah. It's nothing short of amazing that he's still able to go like he is. And the other thing that really I liked about this match was there was a lot of good matches this week, especially in WWE, but a majority of them featured interference of some kind and kind of a muddied ending.
Yeah.
And this one was just straight up. Like, we had a post-match angle after with the Street Profits and Lashley with them officially turning heel.
Which they did look pretty badass.
Yeah. But I liked that the match was straightforward. They gave it a lot of time.
They did.
I think it had 2 commercial breaks in it.
Yeah.
And it just felt really good. It's really nice to see.
Zelina Vega did awesome job at like selling like this confliction of like, who do I root for? Like, who do I want to win this?
Yeah,
like,
and Michael Cole even took the extra step to say, hey, just so you guys know, Zelina came out on her own. She didn't come out with either bid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were really selling Zelina being conflicted there. And their respect spot kind of broken up at the end, but it kind of teased where Santos was hesitating. I'm fine with it there. But I just love that the match was left alone, and it just got to be a really, really great match between 2 characters that in kayfabe are really, really close.
Yeah.
And I thought the match was fantastic.
Yes.
Santos is a star, man.
Yeah.
Santos is ready to break out, I think.
Yeah.
And when he turns heel on Rey, I think that's going to make him a big time player on SmackDown.
Agreed.
So,
yeah.
Kudos to both guys. That was really fun to watch.
Well, my number 9 like of the week was I really enjoyed Jimmy kind of taking over and acting like Roman. Okay. That made my top 10. I liked it because it gave me a little glimmer of what they're going for. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so maybe they're just wanting Jimmy to kind of come in and kind of like go too far with how he's acting in the bloodline, thinking that he's like super good in there and like he's not. Mm-hmm. But I just liked Paul Heyman's reactions, like how he was just kind of like annoyed with him a lot. And like, I loved at the end where they were like going up the ramp after, because Jimmy, he had a fight, he fought, was it Carl Anderson? No.
Yes.
Yeah, so he fought him. And then after the match where he beat Carl Anderson, they're at the top of the ramp, Mei Chen comes out and she slaps Jimmy and he sells it like she just like tried to murder him. Like he falls on the ground, he like stands back up and he's like, damn. So like Paul Heyman, he makes it look like it was the end of Jimmy. Like, I don't know. I really liked all of that. That was that definitely made my top 10.
Okay. My number 8 this week, we're going to talk about Imperium some more. Well, specifically, Imperium's opposition. So, Ciampa beat Ludwig Kaiser this week, and now Ciampa is going to be the next one to challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental title. And what I really wanted to focus on was, number 1, I love Tommaso Ciampa, so I'm thrilled that he's getting this chance. But more so that gets at the number 8 spot is I really love the array and the different styles that Gunther's challengers have had. Because, over the summer he feuded with Sheamus, who was a brawler, big fight type style. He had a similar feud with Drew, where Drew was a powerhouse. But then we moved into like Gable being a threat, who was a technical person, Woods being a threat, who was kind of a balanced attack kind of guy. And now we're going to Ciampa, who's more of a vicious style. So I love that they're letting Gunther get in there with so many different types of opponents.
Yeah.
And it really makes the Intercontinental title feel so like there's variety there.
Yeah.
And the challengers frequently don't stick around longer than they should, like they have been sometimes with the U.S. title, with Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley, especially Seth Rollins earlier this year. That U.S. title picture seemed like it was never going to end. I feel like the Intercontinental title picture is paced pretty well. Gable lost his rematch. We didn't go a third one with Gable. Gable's just off on the side here. saying like, I'm coming back to get Gunther. Gable, you got to worry about Bronson Reed first, buddy. But I love where the mid-card titles are compared to where they were 2 years ago, where they just kind of felt like, oh, we have these, I guess we should book them. And now they feel just as important. And honestly, with Roman having the main title off TV and the World Heavyweight title feeling so new, I kind of feel like they've built these two titles up to mean more almost.
Yeah.
Which is a far cry from where we were years ago. So I've really enjoyed the Intercontinental title picture. I've liked Gunther's challengers coming in. I like that Gunther keeps winning. And most of the time he wins by just outright beating them.
Yeah. It
makes him feel like more of a threat. So yeah, I'm super pleased with how the Intercontinental title's been booked lately.
Okay. My number 8 was Miz TV and Drew McIntyre. So kind of like combining all of them. So Miz had Drew McIntyre on his show, and I feel like Miz has been killing it here lately. So I enjoyed his show. New Day interrupts, kind of continuing the feud that they were having with Drew McIntyre minus Matt Riddle, who was let go. But McIntyre just keeps telling Miz to shut up during this because Miz keeps trying to interrupt because New Day and McIntyre are trying to talk. And so I know was it Kofi and Drew that had the match?
Yeah, it was Kofi and Drew.
So Kofi and Drew had a match, and after the match, Woods gets taken out by Viking Raiders, and Kofi gets taken out also, and McIntyre just kind of leaves. So if I could just like eliminate Viking Raiders from that probably would have been higher on the list. But Viking Raiders, I don't know if it's Viking Raiders or Sarah Rowe or Logan or whatever her name is right now. Like, she is so boring to me. I don't think she's that good. And I kind of feel like she's what's bringing the Viking Raiders down because they were so big before. The only thing that changed is her. So I'm just so bored by them now. But overall, if you kind of took them out, I thought that was excellent. So what's your number 7?
My number 7 is the fact that Christian is TNT champion. I think Christian is killing it.
Yes.
Especially for somebody that, keep in mind, before he went to AEW, he was retired.
Yeah, and Vince McMahon didn't see any potential in, really.
Vince McMahon's always hated Christian. Like, have you ever heard the story about when Christian debuted and Vince wanted to put a blue dot on his face whenever he came out because he just said that he hated Christian's face?
I mean, I feel like people say that about his face every day now.
I feel like his...
Vince McMahon's, not
I feel
Christian.
like his face is perfectly smug.
Yeah.
I think his face fits him very well.
Yes.
But anyway, they had a sit-down interview with JR on Dynamite. And, of course, Christian was taking his shots like he does. And I love how Darby was just like, everybody who shit talks dead. Like Darby just pointed it out.
Yeah.
But I like, too, that Christian is now the TNT champion, which he's been kind of pseudo-champion for a while. But I love that JR was like, what's it like, now that you're officially TNT champion? And Christian's response was just, I don't know what show you've been watching. I've been TNT champion for months. Like, I just love that's the direction that he went. And I really enjoy, like, I know when Christian Cage comes on my screen, I'm going to have a good time.
I see the countdown and I'm like, here we go.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes, it's a countdown to fun.
Yes.
Is what it is. It's a countdown to fun and being the biggest shithead in AEW.
I get excited for what mean thing he's going to say.
Yes. Yes, I can't wait to see what new low he's going to stoop to, what new person he's found that has a dead parent, whose mom he wants to fuck. I can't wait to see what all of this is that's going to unfold. So Christian absolutely is killing it for me right now, and he's usually a guarantee to pop up on both our lists every week.
He did not pop up on mine. Spoiler alert.
Oh, man. The streak is broken.
Yeah, but I can say that I did love it.
Yeah. Well, this was a hard week to sort things through, because I know for me, normally for our likes, we have anywhere from 12 to 14. We usually have to eliminate a couple. I had 20 things to vet through this week.
Yeah, I had to combine a lot.
Yeah, so I can see why Christian didn't make it this week. Yes. There was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, that was my number 7.
My number 7 was from NXT, and it was Trick Williams versus Axiom versus Tyler Bate versus Dragon Lee for a shot at Dominic Mysterio's title, and the match was so good. Axiom is an amazing wrestler. You have Tyler Bate, who is just ridiculously strong, hence his big strong boy thing. The crowd was just super behind Trick Williams, and it was just fun how the match ended. Trick Williams literally won the match by accident. He just fell on top of somebody, and he won the match. So, it was good, though.
It was executed a lot better than it sounds.
Yeah, yes. He got, he did something to somebody, I can't remember who it was, and somebody did something else to him, and then he just fell over and won the match.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like, Dragon Lee went out of the ring. Tyler Bate was on the apron. Somebody hit it. Axiom was down. I can't remember who hit Axiom with what.
Yeah.
But Axiom was down. Dragon Lee went to hit Trick Williams. And Dragon Lee's move that he did sent him out of the ring. Trick Williams stayed in the ring, backed up into the ropes, into Tyler Bate, who knocked Tyler Bate off the apron. And then Trick Williams fell on Axiom and pinned him.
Yes, it was a fun little segue to him winning.
Yeah,
and the crowd loved it. So
yeah.
So good for Trick Williams, because I've loved Trick Williams since the first time I saw Trick. I was like, oh my god, he is amazing.
Is it fair for you to say, and I kind of feel like I might be right here, I kind of wonder if you prefer Trick Williams to Carmelo Hayes.
I do. Just because I feel like Trick has more personality than Carmelo. Carmelo, his thing is just that he's him. He's the best. Trick has more than that. Like, he has, more of a personality. Like, he's fun for, people to talk to and, get, I don't know.
Plus,
I
think Trick has more motivation because Trick is actively trying to fight out of Carmelo's shadow, but he doesn't want to lose that friendship.
Yes.
But Carmelo has made it clear that he doesn't always have time for Trick.
Yes.
So it's an interesting dynamic. I like what they're doing with those two.
Yes. I hope that this means that Trick is going to get his time to shine, because I think he deserves that, because he is really good on the mic. And he's not a bad wrestler either.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was my number 7 though.
Okay. My number 6 is the Texas Death Match on Collision between Bryan Danielson and Ricky Starks. This would have been higher on the list for me, and I mean no disrespect at all with this comment, but we've had 2 monster good matches between Danielson and Starks. 2 brutal matches. We have a pay-per-view tomorrow, and the match we're getting is Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta. And I feel like, and I like Wheeler Yuta. Let me preface this by saying I really like Wheeler Yuta, but I can't help but feel like it's a step down that the pay-per-view matches with Wheeler Yuta.
But
I think I would have rather had, I know Danielson's got Zack Sabre Jr., and that's probably why we're doing this. We want to get Ricky Starks on the card. That is fine. I totally understand that. But taking that out, I would rather have had a strap match with Danielson, a Texas Death match with Yuta, and then the pay-per-view match with Danielson.
I'm fine with what it was.
Or strap match, regular Yuta match, death match at pay-per-view.
See, I feel like it's disrespectful sometimes whenever people, because Yuta is I don't want to say he's the weakling of the BCC, but compared to Moxley,
he's like the fraternity pledge.
He is. So I kind of feel like people kind of forget about him and don't think he deserves this stuff, and he does.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, normally, let me try to word it this way. Normally, for the pay-per-view, you would have progressed through a faction to get to where you're going. If you were going up against the Bloodline, for example, your TV matches wouldn't be against Roman Reigns. They would be against an Uso or Solo. And then at the pay-per-view, you would get Roman.
If I had to guess, I'm going to guess that Danielson had something to do with that, because he's all about letting the younger talent shine. So
I think the Zack Sabre Jr. is what caused that. We might have gotten Starks Danielson 3 at the pay-per-view if not for Zack Sabre Jr.
I don't know.
Which, I wouldn't give back Zack Sabre Jr. Keep that. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it just kind of, And I don't want Ricky Starks left off the card. It's such a conundrum. But anyway, the Danielson Starks match
I love
ruled.
it the way it is, honestly. But
Yeah.
I don't nitpick like you do, though. I never have as many dislikes. Like, I'm not as much of a nitpicker. Yeah.
But going on the match itself, it was perfectly brutal. It was brutal, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I feel like Danielson and Starks love working with each other. Just
Yeah.
based on the 2 matches that they had.
Yeah.
And man, kudos to Ricky Starks, because Ricky Starks takes a fucking beating every time.
He does.
And
yes.
all the kudos in the world to that dude.
Yes.
If we would have seen him on the cruise this year instead of last year, I'd been like, dude, I have to admire you just from the fucking beating you take from Bryan Danielson.
I know, he was so nice on the cruise.
Yeah. So that's my number 6. Like I said, it's a little low because the end result is not there.
Yeah.
But I know why. I know why we're there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my number 6 was, of course, the MJF and Adam Cole things. I can't leave them off. MJF planned this fishing boat trip for Adam Cole because Adam Cole is hurt and he's on crutches, and they're fishing, and Adam Cole, I believe it was, catches Paul White in a duck floaty. And then so they get him on the boat, and then they're all fishing together, and it's like they're all BFFs. It was the most random thing ever. And then I kind of combined, so basically MJF in general on Dynamite for me this week was awesome, because also later in Dynamite we had MJF. Adam Cole did announce that he wasn't going to be able to wrestle at Wrestle Dream against their title against the Righteous, who, FYI, I am very intrigued in the Righteous. I am very loving them. But Jay White comes out after MJF is like, I'm going to defend the Righteous on my own. I'm going to keep our Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, our belts. And Jay White comes out, and this was the first time that I feel like that I can remember that I've seen Jay White in AEW on one-on-one with somebody, because he's usually with Juice or the Guns or somebody else. And I know that he's done this many times before, but I just don't know that much about Jay White other than AEW. So I just really liked how well they both did during this this battle off in the ring about who was the better one, and I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I agree with you on the Righteous. I told you yesterday, if you're not familiar with the Righteous, the way that I see it is, imagine from the Big Lebowski, imagine the dude and Walter joined heel and started a Charles Manson type cult. That's kind of the vibe I get from them. I could be way off base there, but that's just the vibe I get.
I mean, I kind of get a Charles Manson vibe from them.
But, yeah, I agree with you. The Righteous is very intriguing. I hope they stick around. And I'm thinking with Adam Cole being out for a while, because we did find out that injury was legit, I could honestly see them beating MJF and taking those titles.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks, though, is it's the Ring of Honor title, so that would send them back to Ring of Honor and would probably take them off my TV again. And I would rather them stick around. I think they're different from the other tag teams in AEW, and I really feel like AEW could make good use of them. And they're really good in the ring.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Dutch and Vincent, that's where it's at.
Yes.
The Righteous. Well, my number 5, I don't have too much to add, because my number 5 was the Cole MJF Paul White segment.
Yes.
So
Oh, man.
I don't really have anything to add. I just love how the Dynamite ring was pulled out, and Cole was like, Max, you're not going to punch me with the Dynamite Diamond ring.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then, MJF just casually mentions later, he's like, oh, by the way, the last time I almost got caught up, time I threw somebody overboard. So it was just a really fun segment. Whenever MJF and Adam Cole are together in these segments, it's fun.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be able to keep them going with Adam Cole being injured, just to kind of keep the story flowing.
Yeah.
But man, Adam Cole can't catch a break, and that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks that he can't catch a break, because I really enjoy Adam Cole.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets better soon. Hopefully his luck turns around and he's able to kind of be sustained in AEW, because it seems like this is the second time that they tried to do something with him and he's gotten derailed due to injury.
Yeah.
So, all the best to Adam Cole. Heal up quick so you can get back.
Yes. So my number 5 this week was Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee. I didn't expect to have... I mean, obviously I love Judgment Day, but I didn't expect that I would ever have a Dominic match in the top 5 of my likes. A match, not like a promo or a video package thing, but like a match. No offense to Dominic, but I just don't see him as like... I see him as more of a character. So, but I think Dragon Lee is just so good. Well, and I don't want to discount Dominic.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dominic's held his own
He's
here
come
lately.
a long ways from when he first
has.
started. So I don't want to discount him in this. But I do feel like the match was as good as it was because Dragon Lee is just that dang good. But Dominic had no outside help. Mommy was... Rhea Ripley is still on vacation. So, I don't know, they both just looked really good in the match, and I just really enjoyed that match. And Dominic retained, and that's always fun.
Yeah, and the way that he retained was interesting. Like, literally, he, like, hung up Dragon Lee on the rope, like, when Dragon Lee went up to the top.
And, I mean, this segment was from Raw. I did forget to mention that. But, like, yeah.
They definitely seem to want to push Dragon Lee, because Dragon Lee was on Raw. He appeared on SmackDown this week, and he's getting a match next week on SmackDown.
Yes, I think he's coming to the main roster.
I think so, too. And honestly, do it.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yes.
My number 4 is the Rollins-Nakamura stuff. What I like about this feud is this feud feels like that it's like it feels like a very major blood type feud that has purely existed in B pay-per-view territory.
Yes.
Like it feels like something that should be culminating at like SummerSlam.
And it's so brutal, I feel like, because of Shinsuke.
Yeah.
Like his heel work with Rollins especially right now is just amazing.
This is Shinsuke's best main roster work, and it's not close.
Yes.
It's not close.
He just seems like brutal with a little bit of crazy.
And I love that he gets to cut his promos in Japanese.
Yes.
It makes him come across as more threatening.
It does. It does.
And I'm not saying that because I have like fear of foreigners or anything like that. It's just the way he can deliver it.
Yes.
He's more comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like when Asuka goes on her angry Japanese tirades.
Yes.
Which we saw one of those
or Io
on Friday. Yeah, Io does it too.
Yes.
But yeah, I just really like what we've done with Nakamura. I hate that Nakamura's probably not going to win this feud. But I love that he feels like a threat.
And the crowd's behind him again.
Yeah, they've definitely re-energized him.
Yes.
I think we can do stuff with him moving forward that people are going to stay invested.
Yes.
But I do like this feud. I don't think he's going to be the one to topple Rollins.
I don't either. I wouldn't hate it if he was.
If he was, I agree. If he was, I wouldn't hate it. But honestly, my mind is somewhere else on who's going to dethrone Rollins. Yeah, I think it has to be. It has to be Gunther.
I mean, but you could still have somebody take the title from Rollins until Gunther's ready to get there.
Yeah, you could. You could.
But not that I want Rollins to lose. I love Rollins.
I get the feeling where it's a last man standing match. I kind of get the feeling, and this is how I would do it. So the way we do this format, I don't get to put my fancy booking in much anymore. So I want to do it just this once.
Okay.
So, and it's the same thing I pitched to you. What I would do, how I would set this up, is Rollins, Nakamura, last man standing. Priest keeps fighting with Balor. Priest is really imposing his will with this JD McDonough stuff. And Finn Balor's approach to the Usos through this whole thing has been that Judgment Day has no leader. We're all equals. So, my pitch is that if we're going to break Damian Priest off from the Judgment Day, like has been rumored, here's how I would do it. So I would have Nakamura and Rollins do their last man standing. I'd have Rollins retain. I'd have Priest want to prove a point, go out, cash it on Rollins, get the title, try to take over and become the leader of Judgment Day, and Judgment Day kind of resists it because they're like, no, we're equals, and Priest is like, no, I'm the world champion, this is my shit. Mm-hmm. That's how I would do it.
You look so determined.
Yeah. That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
If it were me booking it.
That would be interesting.
But I think it's going to happen that way? No. I think they're going to keep the Judgment Day away from Rollins for a while, which is probably good because they pretty much feuded through the entire summer.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. That's how I would capitalize on all of that stuff with JD McDonough and Finn Balor.
Yes. Well, that was your number 4?
Yeah, my number 4. The last man standing match is going to be great.
My number 4 is also Shinsuke and Seth Rollins.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
that's why I was
that's
like,
why
that was
you
your
made
number
that
4.
face.
Yes. Because I was like, oh my gosh, that's my number 4. But mine mainly was because Shinsuke. Like, Shinsuke is just amazing right now. And I am a Seth Rollins girl. So, but he is just killing it right now. So, yeah.
I would agree with that. All right. My number 3, you already kind of talked about a little bit. My number 3 is the Drew McIntyre heel turn. I think it's always interesting when a heel turns heel because they're so convinced that they're...
Heel?
When a face turns, when somebody turns and they feel that they are justified. And Drew McIntyre is one of those because Drew McIntyre is literally right now in a world where Jey Uso is back on Raw and everybody's just like, give him a chance. You know, he's here to make it right. And Drew is literally like, am I the only one that remembers how he screwed every single one of us?
Drew McIntyre would be me in this. Would it not?
Like, Drew McIntyre is literally getting called out for being a coward and being frustrated. It's something that he feels is right.
Yes.
Like, he's like, Jay screwed us all. How are you not seeing this?
Yeah.
And he took his frustration out on the New Day this week. And last week we kind of teased it whenever Jey Uso got left to get beaten down by the Judgment Day and Cody came out. And Drew was like, this is Cody's mess. That's why Cody did it. Like, Drew is thinking very logically.
He is.
And he has points.
Yeah.
He's just being a dick about it. And to me, that is the best type of heel. When you're right, but you're just such a dick about it that nobody wants to agree with you.
Like Bryan Daniels.
Like the Planet's champion, Bryan Danielson. The Miz is that way a lot.
Yes.
Jericho's been that way in the past.
Yes.
That's a really good heel formula because it's like, you're right. You're just a dick. So, I like that we're taking that with Drew McIntyre. And I think Drew McIntyre needed a change up anyway.
And I love a heel Drew McIntyre.
Heel Drew McIntyre is good stuff.
Yes,
it's good stuff.
It is.
And don't pair him up like last time he was heel and he was paired with Dolph and with Braun Strowman.
You can't.
I know.
Wait, is Braun Strowman still with WWE?
He's injured.
Oh, okay.
He had a concussion, remember?
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think he had some other kind of surgery as well. He's been working out. I think he'll be back before too long.
Joy.
But I think Drew would make a good solo villain on Raw.
Yeah,
now,
he can do it.
Now, I wouldn't hate Drew McIntyre taking Rollins' title. I wouldn't hate that.
See, maybe a heel Drew. Babyface Drew is kind of boring to me.
No, that's what I mean, heel Drew.
Yeah.
Heel Drew taking out Rollins and just doing it in the most brutal way.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my number 3. Drew McIntyre needed a change up. I think we're getting it, so all good there.
Yes. So my number 3... You kind of already talked about this, but it's kind of like everything that Damian Priest did, basically. I like how I obviously don't want the Judgment Day to break up yet, but I like how Damian Priest is just so nervous to like let JD McDonough in, but it's such a hypocritical thing because he was trying to get Jey Uso in. So, and I think it just boils down to the fact that JD McDonough's really close with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor's his right-hand man. So, but I really like that, and I like how Damian Priest just kind of like throughout the whole show, he didn't want to do anything with JD McDonough, like he didn't want to be near him, but whenever he had his match with Priest and Finn Balor Priest and Finn Balor versus KO and Sammy for the tag team titles, JD McDonough helped them win, and he literally helped Damian Priest so that he could get the pin to win. So, like, Damian Priest needs JD McDonough. He just keeps refusing to just acknowledge that he needs him. So I really like that. I like JD McDonough, so I'm happy that he's on my TV. I love the Judgment Day, so I just like the whole thing because it gets everybody on my TV.
My only concern with this whole story, I like this story, don't get me wrong. My only concern is I really need somebody to ask Damian Priest, why is it a bad thing that we increase our numbers?
Yeah.
And what has JD done to make you feel like you can't trust him?
To me, it seems like a jealousy thing to me. Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like to me. Mm-hmm. Wow, we have an appearance from one cat that never shows up.
Mm-hmm. That's my only concern is I'm still not sure why Priest is so against it. And maybe it's just because he's not family.
But he was okay with Jey Uso getting in.
Exactly.
So I think it's more of like
What's
a jealousy
the issue
thing.
with McDonough? That's it. That's the key right there.
That's it.
Yeah, because and it's not like he okayed it. He actively pitched.
Yes.
So he's fine with that.
Yeah.
But JD's a problem. So I really want to uncover more what's going on there. Maybe we will in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
But I really want to know what the issue is there.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 2 for the week, and nobody's going to be surprised at all by this. My number 2 of the week is that LA Knight is officially braided into the Bloodline story. So they advertised all night that Cena was on the Warpath. Cena needed a tag partner for Fastlane to go against Jey Uso and Solo. So Solo and Jimmy just literally went through backstage all of SmackDown and just messed people up and was like, there, now you can't tag John Cena. And I was like they were even beat up like backstage hands. Like some dude's like sitting there with like a little headset. They're like, you can't tag with Cena now. And it's like, come on. And Heyman's just walking around watching it all unfold.
Looking traumatized.
Yeah, with his phone ready to call Roman. I wish he would just say, Roman, get the fuck back here.
I'm tired of dealing with your messes.
Yeah. So anyway, Cena shows up, he gets in the ring, and he's pretty much just like, I'll fight the Bloodline by myself if I have to. And Jimmy and Solo start coming out, and they start to fight Cena. Cena fights back, and they start to get the advantage. Then LA Knight's music hit, and the roof of the building blew off. Yes, as it tends to do these days with LA Knight. So LA Knight comes out. He doesn't cut a promo. I'm very sad we didn't get a promo. But he came out. He bailed out Cena. He took the contract. He signed it. Cena sold it like he just won the Powerball.
He might not have done a promo because he just got over COVID.
Okay, fair point.
I did not feel good after I had COVID.
Fair point.
Even after I had no more symptoms, I still felt off.
Yeah, fair point.
Yes.
But he signed the contract. Cena treated it like he won the Powerball. And then we have our match at Fastlane. It's LA Knight and Cena against Jimmy and Solo. And what a great position for LA Knight to be in. I remember a few months ago, I was one of them. We were all like, oh man, they're not even going to give him a shot at the U.S. title. They must not see any value here. And here he is mixing it in with the Bloodline.
Yeah.
So, do I think LA Knight's going to beat Roman? No way in hell. No. Am I going to enjoy the ride and enjoy the fact that LA Knight's going to be a main event player for a month or so? Yeah, I'm here for that. So that was my number 2 moment this week. I think Cena
struggled through that.
I think anymore when Cena comes back, it's just fun.
It is.
His match with Austin Theory at WrestleMania aside, because that was a bit of a snoozer. But you can tell when Cena's back, he wants to be there.
Yes, he does,
and he's liking what he's doing.
Yeah. I
was a little worried that we were going to get a rehash of Roman and Cena because we've done this twice before already. But if it's to put LA Knight in that position, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
So that was number 2 for me.
Well, my number 2 was from Collision from September 23rd, and it was Jay White versus Andrade's match. Mm-hmm. This match was so dang good. Mm-hmm. Andrade is just such a good wrestler. He looks so graceful when he does his flips, mm-hmm. but then his moves brutal, his elbow move that he does. He's such a good wrestler, and I don't mm-hmm. feel like he gets enough recognition for mm-hmm. how good he is. Mm-hmm. Now I will say the crowd did start to back him during this match, which is really good. Mm-hmm. But then of course he was against Jay White, who is amazing, with all of Bullet Club Gold out there with him. Mm-hmm. So you have Juice that is just freaking hilarious. You have the Guns that just, they're shenanigans century. Mm-hmm. So it was just a really good match. And they literally, Jay White had to beat Andrade by hitting him with this plaque looking thing, mm-hmm. So that he could win. But it was just such a good match.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. That was a really fun match.
It was, yes. Yes.
So my number one this week was the ending of Dynamite and the MJF Jay White feud. So,
yes.
Let's start with the MJF Jay White feud. I love this feud for MJF because everybody that MJF has fought so far has seemed vulnerable in some way.
Yeah.
They have lost a match somewhere along the way. Even like the Danielsons and the Adam Coles, and the Samoa Joes. They've lost matches along the way. Jay White hasn't lost shit by himself since he's been in AEW. In the tag matches he was in, Juice always took the pin.
Yeah.
So Jay White has literally not eaten a pin or tapped out since he's been in AEW, and he's coming up against MJF, who hardly ever loses. This is a money feud for me.
Yeah.
This is an important feud.
Yeah.
That being said, they've treated it as such because Dynamite very rarely has cliffhanger endings. Like, it's rare.
Yeah.
And we got to the end of Dynamite. It was a cut backstage.
Oh, I forgot about
And there was somebody being beaten up. And it's Jay White who saw that coming. Jay White, the leader of a faction that's heel, getting jumped. And he's being jumped by a bunch of dudes in black. And the final shot that we get is a guy in MJF's Devil's mask. Or a woman, but it's probably a guy. In MJF's Devil's mask. And it's not MJF because he definitely looks a lot smaller than MJF, like body-wise.
It can't be Adam Cole.
It can't be Adam Cole because he's hurt. So it's like, who orchestrated this? Who is... And it's essentially looking like...
Is it Stokely Halfley's people again? Like
the Firm?
Yeah.
No, they've all broken up and gone their separate ways because Big Bill's with Starks, Evil Hardy's with Shane Taylor.
That's true.
The number one suspect that I've seen is that it's an MJF frame job done by the Kingdom. Is the number one theory that I've seen.
I could see that.
Yeah. But anyway, it's intriguing. Like usually Dynamite ends and it's like, okay, that was AEW this week. I wonder what they'll do next week. This Dynamite was, oh my god, I need more AEW right now. I need to figure out who these people are.
And it was cool too because we kept getting this like weird noise. It looked like the audio was messing up and like the video was messing up all of AEW or all of Dynamite. And I was just like, good Lord, guys, get it together. But I think that it was all of that.
See, I've seen that might be a cover for the audio issues because apparently on the Fight feed, they had no issues like that. It was just on TV.
Well, that's a good way to try to do a cover-up for it. Yeah. That's smart thinking.
Yeah, that was somebody saying, we've had technical difficulties all night. Let's have the show end on the technical difficulties.
Perfect. Well, you convinced me, but I'm kind of gullible, so... But yeah.
But I really like it. I really like that the end of Dynamite made me want to know where. I definitely want to know where this story is going, and I'm really interested to see what happens. I don't know if we're going to get a payoff at Wrestle Dream or not, but maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe not a payoff, but maybe another piece of the story at Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yes.
But well done AEW. Wait, that was a good cliffhanger.
That was. Mm-hmm. My number one was the Danielson versus Starks Texas Death Match. Mm-hmm. It was brutal. I love Bryan Danielson. Mm-hmm. He's one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. And I know I say it all the time, but it's weird that he's one of my favorites because I don't typically... I like the flippy stuff more. Mm-hmm. I know, sue me. A lot of people hate the flippy stuff, but I love it. So it's crazy to me that Bryan Danielson is like one of my favorites whenever he doesn't do that. He's just so damn good at what he does. Mm-hmm. And Ricky Starks, I feel like, just keeps proving that he can hang with the big dogs, especially with this feud with Bryan Danielson. I get bored after we do the 3 matches with somebody. Mm-hmm. By like the second or by the third one, I'm just like, if it's just matches and there's no actual like storyline with it, basically. Mm-hmm. But this match, I was very pleased with. I really, really enjoyed this match. Mm-hmm. Yes, and Bryan Danielson ended up winning by countout, so he won yet again, but he's never pinning Starks.
Yeah, he just knocks Starks the hell out.
And this was also from Collision, so Collision was like top tier in my eyes. Well, Collision from September 23rd was top tier in my eyes. Which typically is. Collision typically is a really good show.
Collision might be the best consistent wrestling show on TV.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought that was going to go downhill when Punk got fired. And I don't think that's the case at all. Because
here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I dislike Punk. Mm-hmm. But I still watched the show when he was on. I would literally just mostly tune him out. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're a Punk fan and you're upset because he's not there, or you're upset about certain people there, just tune them out. Like, you don't have to not watch something completely because you don't like one person or one group of people. Just tune them out. So, like, and I feel like Collision kind of hasn't had a fair shake because of the day of the week it is and the time. And I blame Punk. Like, Punk is always to blame in my eyes. He's like the thanks Obama. It's like, thanks Punk. That's him. That's me. So, like, but to me it always ties back to Punk and him being a piece of shit. So, but yeah.
But yeah, and it's
I don't even know where I was going with that tangent, but yes.
I don't know, but what hasn't changed with Collision is Bryan Danielson's been involved with the booking pretty much from the beginning. Yeah. I mean, Punk more so when he was there, but Danielson taking over, I mean, clearly the show still has legs.
I haven't really noticed a difference, honestly. If anything, I feel like more people get a time to shine because Punk would literally take up, like, an hour with his 30-minute matches, and he would pop up 2 or 3 times, I feel like. Now, that's a hard fricker to dodge whenever you don't want to see them on that show. He was hard to dodge because he was everywhere. Yeah. But I still did it. Yeah. I still watched it. So, yes. But overall, this week was a really good week in wrestling.
Yep.
A lot of fun things happened. Yes. I mean, going in, we have, 2 pay-per-views this weekend?
Yeah, we have No Mercy.
No Mercy and Wrestle Dream.
And both cards look good.
Yes. Next week, we have... Isn't there another pay-per-view next week?
Fastlane.
Fastlane, okay.
Fastlane's next Saturday.
I was like, am I tripping or is there something going on?
Bless you, WWE, for doing your pay-per-views on Saturdays.
Right. Thank Sundays do not work if you work full-time Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
It's hard. Especially whenever you're me and you're giving me a late pay-per-view and I have to do payroll. So I got to get there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed early Monday morning.
Yeah.
So, and on my A game so I don't mess up people's pay. So,
yeah.
So thanks AEW.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Punk. I'm going to start saying that.
There you go.
But yes, tell us what you guys think. Like, what were your guys' favorite moments in the week? I had a brain fart. What did you hate? If you have something that you liked, because we literally just have time to cover WWE and AEW. We literally have no other time to watch wrestling.
And sometimes it's tough to get all that in.
It is. But tell us in the comments if there's something going on with other shows. I mean, I know I will never watch NWA Power. I know that for a fact. But there could be some fun things on there that I just don't know about. So just let me know. Make sure you subscribe, that you like and follow us. And check out all social medias. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Figures and Flippy S. And be our friend, because we are very freaking nice people.
Despite the fact that I go on rampages all the time.
I mean, I go on my tangents too, so. But, yes, and we will... Well, do you have anything else you want to say before we end this video?
No. It's just when wrestling clicks, it's the greatest form of entertainment in the world.
It is.
Go out and find something.
Yes. And that's so true. If you ask somebody that doesn't watch wrestling, because this has happened to me a few times where people will be like, we're like, what are we watching? And then they get glued and they're like, why can't I stop watching this? So it's fun. It's goofy. It's fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's not real life. So, yes. But anyway, we will see you all next week for our next Figures and Flippy Shit podcast.
Until then.
Did you like that video? Like, subscribe, and comment to the Figures and Flippy Shit Wrestling Podcast. Oh, yeah.